Hello students! Today I wanted to show you kind of the next level of how you can use Google Drawings. Google Drawings looks very simple and very elementary, but you can do some pretty advanced things, and we're not going to get into all of those options right now. We will get into some later on in the semester, but today I wanted to show you some things that are going to help you with the assignment that you have coming up. And one of those things is page setup. You can actually change the dimensions that you want to start with. Now, this could be something that you do at the very beginning of your design, depending on what you're doing. Say you're designing a bookmark, you're going to want it really long, but not very wide. Or if you were designing something that is square shaped, you don't want this rectangular shape. So under the File menu, you're going to go all the way down to Page Setup. Now, if you have your window small in your Chromebook, you might have to make it bigger just so you can see that. And by default, it's showing you that it's 4 something wide, 4 units wide by 3 units deep. So you can change those dimensions. You can even select custom. So if I needed something that is square, I need all 4 corners or all 4 sides to be the same length. So if I just did this, now my workspace is a perfect square, but it did change the shapes of things that I had. So I wouldn't do this unless you liked what you came up with. I wouldn't do it for today, but this would be something where you're doing it at the very beginning. There is the option to also do it later on, but as you can see, it's going to affect the shapes that you've put in there. It will also affect images. So I'm actually going to undo that. Another thing that you might want to do is change the order of the layers on your drawing. So you can see that I created a heart shape, I created an explosion shape, and I created this lightning bolt that I actually rotated all the way around. Remember using the rotating tools. This actually came like this, and I wanted it to be the other way around, so I just rotated it. Items on your Google Drawing are going to be layered in the order that you put them down. So think of each one as being like a piece of paper or a piece of felt. And if you want to tuck something under something else or make something come to the top, we need to change the order. So first of all, you need to select whatever it is that you wanted to change the order from. So say I wanted the heart to be on top and I wanted the explosion to be in the back. I'm going to tuck it in here just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do after I select my object is go under the Arrange menu, and I'm going to go to Order, and whatever I have, I'm going to bring to front. And you can also see that there was bring to back. There's also bring things forward and bring them back, and that would be useful if you had multiple layers. So I could take my lightning bolt, and I could also go up here, and I could send to back. I want it to go all the way to the bottom layer. So that is changing the order of something. Now, let's say I wanted to take all of these 3 shapes and create one big shape. I want to create something that if I were moving it around the page, I don't have to move each piece separately. So I like the design of this. I want to change the whole thing. So one is to group all of them together. And so I'm going to select, I'm going to press the Shift button, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, so you can click on them. Or another way to select a lot of items is to draw, just put your cursor down and draw a box. The danger in that is I'm going to pick up that line, and I don't want to pick that line up as part of the group. So it works if nothing else is in the way. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to hit my Shift button because I want to get 1, 2, all 3 shapes. It actually won't select the text box in there. And now I can go under the Arrange option again and group my objects. That way, if I wanted to move it around the page, it's going to move in one big piece. Notice that that text box didn't move. Okay. You can also ungroup. So if you moved something around, you decided you changed your mind later and decided, I don't want all those together, you can go under and you can ungroup it as well. Okay, so that's something I'd like you to experiment today. Another option I want to share with you is the version history. This gets very important when we're doing graphic art, we're doing drawings, and we have multiple different versions of whatever it is that we're working on. So I might want to go back to some version of my drawing that was from last week. So I can see I had all these different versions. If I kind of click through, you can see where I had a blank page, I added a heart, and then I did all the different steps along the way. So I could choose to go back to this version, for example, and restore this version. That's really nice that you don't have to hit undo, 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 undo until you get back to what you're trying to get back to. I don't actually want to do that, so I'm going to stick with the current version and just hit the back button. Your version history also, just sidebar, that's what your teachers will use a lot of times when they're reading your writing and they want to see your writing take place over a long period of time. So your teachers use it and you can use it as well. I also want to show you that even within a drawing, you can insert another image. So we're doing this activity pretty close to the end of November. I got the Thanksgiving holiday coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and insert an image, and I'm going to search the web for one. And I'll put in one that's just a turkey clip art. So I want something kind of comical. And I got one of my favorite turkey images, so I'm just going to select him and put him right in here. Now, of course, he's going to be on top of everything. So if I wanted him to tuck behind this little saying that says gobbles, now I can go back up to my arrange, and I'm going to send him, I'm going to send him all the way to the back. What happens is it's going to put him behind. You want to be careful of forward and backward because you'll lose track of all the different layers that you have. So now my little turkey sits behind the word gobbles. You'll notice right here that I made a comment to myself, and later in this lesson, I'm going to explain to you a little bit the difference between a PNG file and a JPEG file. So I already made a note to myself because I wanted to share something with you. So just like in a Google Doc, you can also make comments. So if I were doing this and I thought, I'm just going to get it on the page and I'm going to do something with it later, you can write yourself a comment. Or if you're sharing with somebody, you could write them a comment. So I'm going to say, pick a better font. And when I'm writing myself notes, I might say, fix font. And now I have these notes that I've left for myself. Okay. All right, I want to get to a point. First of all, I'm going to pick that better font, and I'm going to come up and I want to change my font of the word gobbles to something a little bit more fun. Go ahead and just stick. I like to pick ones that are a little bit bubblier if I did word art, then they really show up. And because I'm doing something that's somewhat Thanksgiving themed, I'm going to make the fill color be brown, and I'm going to have the outside border be orange. It's so small though, I'm going to make the border be a little bit thicker, even thicker than that. Okay, so you do have the option of changing the weight of the borders. That's how thick the lines are that go around something. So you can see I did that here with the heart. I made it be 4 point. So you can change the border size so that they really pop. You can also change the border style. Notice here, I decided to go with a dashed line. So you do have a lot of options within your images. Now I'm going to go ahead and arrange my things in an area so it doesn't look like a big collage, because I want to show you one other tool that we have. I'm going to go ahead and take away my little lightning bolt right here, and I'm going to move my text box, and I'm going to move my line down here, and my little arrow can come over here, and I'll move my other little line that I have. Actually, I'm just going to delete that line. So when you get all the way done, we want to avoid the amount of space that this image is going to take up when we download it in another format. So we don't want to have all this white space around here. Matter of fact, I'm going to make this even smaller. gobbles. So in order to get rid of this extra space, say we started this out, we're like, I don't know how much space I'm going to need or what shape it's going to be. But if I take the corner down here, I can drag this so that there isn't a lot of white space around my whole piece. You can only drag the bottom corner. That way, when we download this as an image file, there isn't going to be a lot of white space outside of the area that we've worked on. The last thing I want to talk to you about is how to download this as an image file. If you have any experience with graphic design, you might know that there is a thing called a PNG and a JPEG. So if I were to go into the File menu and download, you can see JPEG or PNG. And these are both image files. And for graphic design, we're going to use a PNG image. PNG images are a little bit higher quality, but they also download without the background. And that's really important in the next assignment that we're going to be doing, because you're not going to want the white space that's in the background. So I want you to see how that's going to transfer in real life. So just to show you the difference, I'm going to download this as a JPEG. JPEG stands for an acronym that I always forget, so not important. I don't think most people know what a JPEG is. And I'm also going to download this as a PNG image, and I want you to see how they look different when we're using them somewhere else, because we never just make a drawing and don't put it somewhere, right? So I'm going to download this as a PNG image. Now, I'm just being lazy and I'm dragging these onto my desktop because I can, but you can already see how the white background doesn't transfer. And you might be thinking, well, what difference does that make? Well, because if you were to take the JPEG image and pull it into a document or a file or a project, the white space that's in the background stays. And so you don't want to have that when you're working with graphic design. So if I use the PNG file and I bring that over, now everything that wasn't an actual item on my original drawing doesn't show up. So I can have things be in the background. Okay, so I'm going to make this small and just leave it right here for funsies so you can see what that looks like. One other thing I wanted to share with you is you've come across this in Science Gizmos, where you click on a blank space and it pulls up Google Drawings for you. And that is because those gizmos are created using Google Docs. So if you are in a Google Doc and you wanted to create a drawing, you can see under the Insert menu, there's a space for drawing. And you can click New if you wanted to do one from scratch, or if you did it from your drive, it's going to access all the Google drawings that you had. Here's a personal logo that I did a little while ago. So you can pull drawings that you've already done into a document, or you can do them from scratch. The way that it works in the Gizmo is that it'll say New Drawing, and there will be a box that you see on your worksheet. And let's go ahead and make the fill be translucent here, or transparent. So this is the way that you see those when you see them on your Science Gizmo. And then of course, when you double click in there, it pulls up Google Drawings. Pretty neat, huh? Unfortunately, that option does not exist in Google Slides. So if I go under the Insert menu, I don't see a way to make a drawing. But you can always create a drawing and then, as you can see, pull that into your slideshow. So what I want you to do today is make some modifications. I want to know that you have played around with some of this. You can change the order of some things. You can group things together. I just want to see what you create today. And you're going to download it as a PNG file. Okay. And then you are going to turn that in to Accelerate. Now, one thing I want you to notice too, this becomes important, especially when you start to have a lot of drawings and a lot of image files in your Google Drive. There's a way to tell the difference between these when they all show up in your Google Drive. So you will notice Google Drawing has an icon that has two shapes on it. Okay, the shape is sort of the giveaway. So there's the Google Drawing version. The PNG version has this checkerboard, and that's kind of a universal sign in graphic design on a computer. And when you see that gray and white checkerboard, that means that this image is meant to be used with a transparent background. And then you'll see when I downloaded it as a PNG or as a JPEG, the white space that's in the background shows up as white. All right, come to the Digital Lab if you need help with any of this today.